Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to Operation Freedom Briefings. The goal of these briefings in my weekly radio show, Operation Freedom, is to provide you information the bought-off lamestream fake media will not touch. You can join me on the radio show. It's live every Sunday, 2 to 5 Eastern. We broadcast out of the People's Republic of Ann Arbor in our Freedom Bunker. All you have to do is go to davejanda.com. It's free. Go to the upper right-hand corner, hit the listen button, and you're tuned in. Great analysis, great guests, information fake media will never touch. We're there for you every Sunday from 2 to 5 Eastern. We're also available 24/7 on this YouTube channel, Operation Freedom, the only channel I upload original content on. And we're also available 24/7 on the website davejanda.com. We have a tremendous amount of free public information on that website. We also upload on a very regular basis our extra shows, our WTF show, our Insider Insight show, our Department of Advanced Research show, access to all of our podcasts, access to all of our archives of all of our shows. For our subscription service, 30 cents a day, $9 a month, I believe one of the biggest bangs for the buck in all of the internet. I hope you'll become a part of our Freedom family and become a subscriber. Today's presentation is on President Trump, who is exposing the deep state fraud. Now, the fraud essentially can be targeted on two different reports, the Mueller report and the Steele Dossier. Both were deep state operations, the goals of which were multiple. One of which was to remove a duly elected president of the United States. That was the goals of both of those fraudulent documents, the Mueller report and the Steele dossier. In addition, both documents were used as a cover-up for the illegal surveillance by the Obama administration. Now, we've gone into great lengths. If you haven't seen the interview I did with Bill Binney and Kirk Wybie that we did on our subscription platform that I moved over to this free YouTube channel, you need to do that. That's information the fake media will never touch, but it exposes the parallel, privatized, illegal surveillance platform that was utilized by Obama, Brennan, and Clapper to violate the Fourth Amendment rights of not just President Trump, not just Citizen Trump, not just his team, but you, me, and millions of Americans. Monitor our phone calls, internet activities, financial transactions, text messages. Why? As a means of creating a database that could be used at a later time for blackmail, for leverage. The Steele dossier and the Mueller report were documents that were used to try to remove a duly elected president of the United States, to cover the illegal surveillance by the Obama administration. They were also used as cover for an excuse, if you will, for the humiliating defeat of Hillary Clinton in the 2016 election. They were also used as a protection policy for deep state puppets and their past criminal actions. And those documents were used as a diversion from Hillary Clinton's illegal server, which put every American in harm's way. Look, the Department of Justice, Inspector General Michael Horowitz, when he looked at the illegal server activity of Hillary Clinton, testified that there were 5 foreign countries that had open access to that server, one of which was China. It was an open door policy. It's no wonder that 18 of our operatives, after this server went into existence, were murdered. Right. These documents, the Mueller investigation, the Mueller report, and the Steele dossier, were used as diversion from what I just explained. Devin Nunes, congressman from California, has been out front on this. And this just appeared in the Epoch Times recently. He actually looked at the Mueller report and Steele dossier comparisons. And here's what Nunes said. Nunes also compared the Mueller report to the Steele dossier, noting that it's, quote, written in the same spirit and with the same purpose as the Steele dossier. which was once championed by Democrats on this committee, but which they rarely mentioned after it was exposed as yet another Democrat-created hoax. Steele Dossier. Christopher Steele, former British military intelligence operative, created a dossier, along with a number of other players. I believe the number 4 person in the Justice Department, Bruce Orr, was integrally involved in that dossier creation, including his wife. But I believe Orr was as well. I believe this will come out as declassification hits and information comes forward from behind the curtain. But the Steele dossier was paid for by the DNC, by the Clinton campaign. And it was a fraud. I take you back to December 17th, 2018. The only mention of this I found was in Zero Hedge. Headline: Christopher Steele admits he was hired to help Hillary Clinton challenge the 2016 election. What? Why aren't we hearing Morning Joe talk about this, or Rachel Maddow, or Anderson Cooper, or Fox? How about because they're all part of the deep state syndicate? Right. Former UK spy Christopher Steele admitted in a London court, this is in December 2018, that he was hired to help Hillary Clinton contest the results of the 2016 election in case Trump won. Actually, the Washington Times, very different from the Washington Post, did mention something about this. According to Zero Hedge, Steele assembled an anti-Trump dossier of opposition research for investigative firm Fusion GPS, which was in turn hired by DNC law firm Perkins Coie. The document used a senior Russian foreign ministry figure and a foreign top-level intelligence officer still active in the Kremlin. That was according to Vanity Fair. In other words, Hillary Clinton, through Steele and other intermediaries, was working with Russians against Donald Trump. Remember, one of the premises, when Mueller did his 10-minute stand-up act at the podium where he took no questions and was sweating and didn't look very good, looked like he was about to vomit. Actually, he did vomit on the podium. He vomited out information, which was BS. He started out by talking about this Russian hack that started this whole event and that this is why they were looking at collusion. Watch the interview I did with surveillance experts, the 2 top in the world, Bill Binney and Kirk Wiebe. It wasn't a hack. It was a download event internally within the DNC, and then that information was transferred to Julian Assange, who published it on the WikiLeaks platform. But Mueller put all his eggs in the hack basket. Never interviewed Bill Binney or Kirk Wiebe or their investigative team that determined the transit times. It couldn't have been a hack. It had to be a download. And remember, that server that was supposedly hacked at the DNC was never turned over to the FBI. That in fact, they relied on a report from an organization called CrowdStrike, who was funded by the DNC to do the analysis. Well, you get what you pay for, right? The DNC wanted to make it look like it was all a hack, not what it really was. So they paid a firm CrowdStrike $1 million to make that happen. That was the predicate for the Mueller report, which fed into the Steele dossier to try to remove a duly elected president of the United States. The Conservative Treehouse. Great website. Department of Justice admits the FBI not only just didn't see the server, never saw the CrowdStrike report on the DNC Russian hacking claim. The foundation for the Russian election interference narrative is built on the claim of Russians hacking the servers of the Democratic National Committee and subsequently releasing damaging emails that showed the DNC worked to help Hillary Clinton and eliminate Bernie Sanders. Despite the Russian hacking claim, the Department of Justice previously admitted the Democratic National Committee would not let FBI investigators review the DNC servers. Instead, the DNC provided the FBI with analysis of a technical review done through a cybersecurity contract with CrowdStrike. The narrative around the DNC hack claim was always sketchy. Many people believed the DNC email data was downloaded, Bill Benny, Kirk Wiebe, and their investigative team, onto a flash drive and leaked. In a court filing, the scale of sketchy has increased exponentially. Suspecting they could prove the Russian hacking claim was false, lawyers representing Roger Stone requested the full CrowdStrike report of the DNC hack. When the Department of Justice responded to the Stone motion, they made a rather significant admission. What? The ladies on The View didn't talk about this? Anderson Cooper didn't talk about this? Morning Joe didn't talk about it? Rachel Maddow didn't talk about it? Shep Smith? Judge Napolitano didn't talk about this? No. What was the significant admission? Here it is. Not only did the FBI not review the DNC server, the FBI and Department of Justice never even saw the CrowdStrike report. And that is what the entire Mueller probe was based on. Vapor. That's what the Steele dossier was based on. Vapor. You get what you pay for. The DNC paid CrowdStrike to come up with this report. The DNC paid Steele to come up with this fake Russian dossier. We have spent 3 years dealing with this, when so much more could have been accomplished. It's amazing President Trump and his administration got anything accomplished based on what was perpetrated on our country. These working with foreign governments, these working with these entities to subvert an election is in fact sedition. But when working with foreign operatives, the question comes up about treason. And to even show how more fraudulent the Mueller report was, at his 10-minute stand-up act, he made the comment about the obstruction issue and about the collusion issue. And here's what he said. Quote, now listen to this. If we had, quote Mueller, quote, if we had confidence that the president had clearly not committed a crime, we would have said so, end quote. Talked to a lot of prosecutors, a lot of attorneys about this. That statement in and of itself that Mueller made is against what this country is all about. This country, as opposed to third world countries, this country, at least in my upbringing, was about you're innocent until proven guilty. That statement implies that the president was guilty until they could prove his innocence. A prosecutor prosecutes. This was I was told by a number of prosecutors. A prosecutor's job is to investigate the evidence and to determine if there is or was sufficient evidence to prove a crime was committed. A prosecutor doesn't exonerate. A prosecutor prosecutes. And if there isn't enough evidence, doesn't prosecute. It goes back to what Mueller is all about. It goes back to what his right-hand man, James Comey, is all about, these are the two former FBI directors. This is from Colleen Rowley, a retired FBI special agent in the Division of Legal Counsel. This is what she recently wrote. Neither Comey nor Mueller, who are reported to be joined at the hip, deserve their current lionization among politicians and mainstream media. Instead of Jimmy Stewart-like G-men with reputations for principled integrity, the two close confidants and collaborators merely proved themselves, along with former CIA Director George Tenet, reliably politicized sycophants, enmeshing themselves in a series of wrongful abuses of power along with official incompetence. Mueller was chosen as special counsel not because he has integrity, but because he will do what the powerful want him to do. Mueller didn't speak the truth about a war he knew to be unjustified. He didn't speak out against torture. He didn't speak out against unconstitutional surveillance. And he didn't tell the truth about 9/11. He is just, quote, their man, end quote. Well, their man and their men, whether it's Mueller or Comey or Steele, are melting. The light of truth is melting them. And they're panicked. And the deep state is panicked, not just here in the United States, but the deep state is panicked around the world. We have a lot of listeners, viewers from the UK. You'll be interested in this. UK's MI5, of which Steele, by the way, was a former representative of, accused of extraordinary and persistent illegality over mishandling of bulk data collection. See, this just wasn't done in the United States. This has been going on worldwide. By now, most people in the free European democracies in the U.S. have accepted that we now live in a de facto surveillance state as government agencies like the NSA in the United States, MI5 and GCHQ in the UK, hoover up reams of personal data. Everything from our logs, texts, browser history, and they dump it in a giant database. This is from Zero Hedge. This week, a civil rights group is making the latest effort to try and hold this vast and unchecked government bureaucracy accountable by challenging MI5, the British Domestic Intelligence Service, in the country's High Court, accusing it of violating data collection and storage privileges by storing private citizens' information in bulk without proper protection. Uric Cohen, the attorney on this case, quote, "This type of data has been kept in an insecure manner. It means that it was perhaps open for hundreds of people to view it. Maybe there would have been leaks of the data to all sorts of organizations that shouldn't really be accessing the data for national security reasons," end quote. But it's not just in the UK. A lot of listeners, viewers in Australia. You see, when the light of truth shines on the deep state, they panic, they desperate, and then they act out. From Zero Hedge, Aussie feds raid News Corp journalist home after government spying expose. This is exactly what they did to Bill Binney and Kirk Wiebe. Remember that interview? They kicked down their doors. This is when Mueller was head of the FBI. Kicked down their doors and Bill was walking out of the shower and he had an FBI agent pointing a gun to his head. What did he do? Told the truth. From Zero Hedge, Australian federal police officers are raiding the homes of News Corp Australia journalist Annika Smethurst over a story accusing the government of radical new espionage powers, allowing the Australian Signals Directorate to monitor citizens for the first time. Ms. Smethurst, the political editor for News Corp Sunday, titles including the Sunday Telegraph, was at home preparing to leave for work this morning when several Australian federal police officers arrived with a warrant, giving them authority to search her home, computer, and mobile phone. Ms. Smethurst complied with the warrant and is presently waiting for the raid to be completed. Smethurst's article, which brought all this on, revealed that the emails, bank accounts, and text messages of Australian citizens could be secretly accessed by government spies without a trace under the proposal, as long as the Defense and Home Affairs ministers approved the plan. Worldwide, the deep state is panicked and desperate and acting out. They are like cockroaches. The light of truth is being shone upon them, and they're being exposed every day. But you'll never know that, and you'll be kept completely in the dark by the bought-off lamestream fake media. And that is where alternative sources come into play. I thank you for joining us today. I thank you for your support. I hope you'll become a member of our subscription service at davejanda.com. And I hope you'll also join us every Sunday, 2 to 5 Eastern. At davejanda.com, just hit the listen button. We're there for you 2 to 5 Eastern. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thank you for your time today.